In the ancient pages of the Ethiopian Bible, Archangel Michael is described not just as an angel, but as the keeper of the universe's secrets. Have you ever wondered why Michael is especially revered in Ethiopian tradition? This story begins in the earliest pages of the Book of Enoch, one of the oldest texts of Ethiopian Christianity. In the Book of Enoch 20, verse 5, Michael is described as one of the holy angels set over the people in chaos. What's special is that while Western traditions often emphasize Michael's warrior role, the Ethiopian Bible paints a more complex and profound picture. Imagine a world where the boundary between heaven and earth is as thin as the morning mist. In that world, Michael is not merely a warrior with a sword, but also the holder of the universe's deepest secrets. What makes the Ethiopian interpretation of Michael so unique? The answer lies in three main aspects. First, while Western texts often focus on the battle between Michael and Satan, the Ethiopian Bible emphasizes his role as a spiritual teacher. In the Book of Enoch, chapter 40, we see Michael described as the one who teaches the secrets of mercy and justice. Second, Ethiopian tradition believes that Michael is not only the protector of Israel, but also the guardian of all nations. This is clearly shown in the Book of Kibra Nagast, the book that tells of the glory of the Ethiopian kings. Michael, the angel of the Lord, stands guarding all the borders of Ethiopia. Third, and perhaps most notably, Michael is seen as the keeper of the keys of knowledge. In ancient Ethiopian texts, he is not just a warrior, but also a heavenly scholar who understands all the laws of the universe. Why is this important to us today? In an age of science and technology, many might dismiss these ancient stories as mere myths. However, the way Ethiopian tradition describes Michael offers a unique perspective on the relationship between divine knowledge and human wisdom. In an increasingly polarized world, what can the image of Michael, both a warrior of justice and a compassionate teacher, teach us about balancing strength and wisdom as we continue our journey? As we continue exploring Michael through the lens of the Ethiopian Bible, we will uncover surprising and profound aspects of this angel. So let's delve into the origins of Michael, a story that begins from the very first moments of creation. What happened in those first moments, and why is understanding Michael's origins so crucial in deciphering his role? To answer this, we turn to the story of Michael's origins, uniquely told in the Ethiopian Book of Enoch. According to Ethiopian tradition, Michael was present from the very first moments of the universe. The Book of Enoch 24, verses 4 through 6 describes, "Before the sun and the signs were created, before the stars of heaven were set in place, the name of Michael was proclaimed before the Most High." This reveals a unique perspective on Michael's position. He is not just a created angel, but an embodiment of divine will. What makes Michael special in the angelic hierarchy? The Book of Jubilees 2, verses 2 and 3 reveals that among all the angels of presence, Michael was chosen to lead because he alone understood both the language of heaven and earth, a unique aspect rarely mentioned in other traditions. Imagine a moment when the universe was still a void. Michael stood beside the Creator, not just as a witness, but as an interpreter of creation, understanding both the light and darkness, of order and chaos, of order and chaos. In the Ethiopian Book of Enoch 40, we find a detailed description of Michael's position. "And I saw thousands upon thousands, 10,000 times 10,000 angels, and Michael, the most noble angel, was their leader." The text emphasizes not only Michael's power, but also his nobility, a quality associated with wisdom and virtue. According to the Book of Kibra Nagast, Michael was not only created as an angel, but was forged from the very light of heavenly glory. This explains why in ancient Ethiopian art, Michael is often depicted with a special halo. Why is understanding Michael's origin so important? Because it explains his unique power and responsibility. The Book of Enoch 71, verse 3, records that Michael holds the deepest secrets of heaven because he has witnessed them from the beginning. What does this mean for us today? The story of Michael reminds us that true knowledge is not just about holding information, but understanding its deeper meaning. Like Michael, who stands between heaven and earth, we too need to learn how to interpret, not just between languages, but between cultures, between science and spirituality. What roles and responsibilities did this noble origin lead Michael to? And why was Michael entrusted with protecting the people of Israel? In the book of Daniel, Michael is described not only as a guardian angel, but also as the great prince of heaven. The book of Daniel 12, verse 1 clearly states, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people." What makes this role special in the Ethiopian context? The answer lies in Michael's three main roles. First, as protector of Israel, Michael is described in more detail in the Ethiopian Bible than in other traditions. In the book of Kebra Nagast, chapter 100, it is written that Michael protects them not only from visible enemies, but also against the invisible forces seeking to undermine their faith, showing a deeper aspect of his protective role. Imagine, in the darkest moments of Israel's history, when the nation faced the threat of annihilation, Michael stood as a divine shield. The book of Enoch 20, verse 5 describes him as guarding the souls of the righteous until the day of their liberation. Second, Michael's role as the bearer of justice is evident. The book of Jubilees 4, verses 15 through 17, tells of how Michael weighs each soul. And Michael held the scales of justice in his hand and measured every action of man with absolute precision. This is not merely an image of judgment, but a symbol of fairness and compassion. According to Ethiopian tradition, Michael is not only a judge, but also an advocate for souls seeking redemption. In the Ethiopian book of Enoch 40, verse 9, we read, "Michael, the merciful and patient one, is the intercessor for those seeking the light." Third, Michael is seen as the keeper of the universe's secrets. The book of Enoch 71 reveals, "And Michael led me to the deepest secrets, things that other angels were not permitted to know," explaining why, in ancient Ethiopian art, Michael is often depicted holding a mysterious book. What does this mean in the modern world? It reminds us that true knowledge is the wisdom to use information rightly. Like Michael, who balances justice and mercy, we too need to find balance in our lives. Another aspect mentioned in the book of Kebra Nagast is Michael's role in protecting the Ark of the Covenant. Chapter 114 recounts, "And Michael stood guard over the Ark of the Covenant, not just as a sacred object, but as a symbol of the covenant between heaven and earth." In our time, when the lines between right and wrong are increasingly blurred, what can the image of Michael, both a protector and a fair judge, teach us? Perhaps it is a lesson about balancing justice and mercy, strength and wisdom. How does Michael carry out these important roles? And what happens when he faces the greatest challenges? In the Ethiopian Bible, Michael is described as the only angel entrusted with simultaneously undertaking the three most important tasks. The first and most important is to fight against evil forces. In the book of Enoch 10, verses 11 and 12, we read, "And the Lord said to Michael, Bind Shemyaza and his associates, who have united with women to defile themselves." This reveals the nature of the spiritual warfare Michael must face. The book of Kebra Nagast, chapter 115, states, "And Michael, with the sword of justice in hand, fights not only against visible evil, but also against the hidden darkness within the human soul," showing that Michael's battle occurs on multiple levels. The Ethiopian Synaxarium on the 12th of Sin recounts how Michael uses wisdom and mercy in his fight. And Michael confronts the enemy not with anger, but with the light of truth, causing darkness to retreat before his presence. Michael's second task is to protect the souls of the righteous. The book of Jubilees, chapter 35, verse 17 states, "And Michael is tasked with guarding the soul of the righteous, so that they do not go astray on their journey back to the Creator." In the Ethiopian book of Enoch, chapter 89, we find that Michael records every action in the Book of Life, not to judge, but to understand and guide. The Ethiopian Synaxarium tells a story about how Michael came to a poor man in despair as an ordinary traveler, helping him find faith and hope again, showing that Michael often chooses a humble way to fulfill his mission. The third task is to convey divine messages. The book of Enoch 40 of verse 9 describes Michael as the blessed one among the angels of presence set over all good messages for the people. According to the book of Nagast, Michael uses dreams, signs in nature, and direct appearances to convey messages. An example is recorded in the Ethiopian Synaxarium, and Michael appeared before King Solomon as an old wise man to convey heavenly wisdom. Michael balances power and humility. In the book of Enoch, chapter 71, we read that Michael never acts solely for justice, but always seeks redemption and guidance. How are these divine tasks manifested in specific historical events, and what happens when Michael faces the greatest challenges? In the Ethiopian Bible, the battle between Michael and Lucifer is described in detail. The book of Enoch, chapter 29, begins, "And I saw Michael, the most noble angel, standing before Lucifer, who was once the bright star of the morning." According to the book of Nagast 100, the battle takes place on three levels: will, intellect, and love, between Lucifer's self-serving love and Michael's love of service. The Ethiopian Synaxarium on the 12th of Sem records, "And when Lucifer declared, 'I will set my throne above the stars,' Michael did not respond with anger, but simply declared, 'Michael,' meaning, 'who is like God?'" The second event is Michael's role in the Great Flood. The book of Jubilees, chapter 5, reveals that Michael was tasked not only with executing judgment, but also with preserving the seeds of life. In the Ethiopian book of Enoch 60, we read, "And Michael stood guard over Noah's ark, not only protecting it from the raging waves, but also guiding it to safety with heavenly light." The third event is Michael's interventions in human history. The Ethiopian Synaxarium recounts instances of Michael appearing at crucial times. One story is recorded on the 12th of Hedar, "And Michael appeared before King Solomon to convey heavenly wisdom." Michael's most important intervention, recorded in the book of Nagast, is the protection of the Ark of the Covenant. Chapter 114 recounts, "And when dark forces sought to seize the Ark of the Covenant, Michael protected it by making the wicked understand the sacred meaning of this holy object." Michael demonstrates a principle: using power not to destroy, but to protect and guide. In the book of Enoch 71, we read, "And in all his actions, Michael always seeks redemption rather than punishment, guidance rather than condemnation." What do these events mean for us today? They show that even in the darkest moments, there's always a guiding light. Like how Michael balances justice and mercy, we too need to find balance. How are these events reflected in symbols, and why has Michael's sword become a symbol of heavenly justice? Michael's sword is not just a weapon, but a symbol of discernment. The book of Enoch, chapter 90, uniquely describes Michael's sword, and in his hand, the sword not only shines with heavenly fire, but also reflects the truth of the universe. According to the book of Nagast, this sword was forged from the light of the first day of creation. In ancient Ethiopian art, Michael's sword is often depicted with two edges, one sharp and one blunt, symbolizing justice and mercy. The second symbol is the scales of balance. In the book of Enoch 40, we read, "And Michael holds in his hand the scales of justice, weighing not only actions, but also the intentions in the human heart." The book of Jubilees, chapter 4, reveals that on one side are the deeds of man, and on the other are the opportunities they have been given. The third symbol is Michael's heavenly armor. The book of Nagast describes his armor as woven from the prayers of the righteous, an image of the connection between heavenly strength and human faith. In the Ethiopian Synaxarium on the 12th of Sem, there is a description of this armor. Each link in the armor is an act of mercy. Each shield is a sincere prayer. In ancient Ethiopian art, The sword is never depicted without the scales of justice, and the armor is always drawn with motifs symbolizing prayer, a message about the balance between justice and mercy. What spiritual lessons do these symbols offer, and why is their meaning so important in our journey to find balance in modern life? Every action of Michael carries a lesson about balance. The book of Enoch 71 begins, "In every judgment of Michael, there is never justice without mercy, nor mercy without justice, a lesson for how we treat each other." The book of Kebra Nagast recounts how Michael deals with lost souls. He never condemns without offering redemption, and never forgives without sincere repentance, teaching us that both strictness and tolerance are necessary. The Ethiopian Synaxarium on the 12th of Hedar states that Michael sees through the motives in the heart, reminding us that the true value of an action lies in the intention behind it. The second lesson about the balance between good and evil is shown through how Michael fights evil. The book of Enoch 40 records that Michael never uses power for the sake of power, but always for protection and guidance, teaching us how to use our power and influence. In the book of Jubilees, chapter 10, we find that when Michael faces the enemy, he does not seek to destroy them but to transform them, suggesting that the ultimate goal is transformation and reconciliation. The role of faith in life is evident through the image of Michael's armor. The Ethiopian Synaxarium describes the strongest armor as woven from faith and trust, reminding us that true strength comes from belief. A lesson about humility is found in how Michael always acts with deep humility, never boasting of his strength. What makes Michael so important in our modern world? The book of Kebra Nagast offers that in every age, Michael appears to remind humanity of divine balance, holding special significance when the lines between right and wrong are blurred. Through understanding Michael in the Ethiopian Bible, we have explored his role as a symbol of balance, how he demonstrates strength through humility, and his role as a spiritual guide. Perhaps the greatest lesson is about how to face life's challenges. The Ethiopian Synaxarium recounts, in every trial, Michael not only teaches us how to win, but also how to win rightly, suggesting that not only the outcome, but also the process is important. In the modern world, the lessons from Michael about balancing power and responsibility become meaningful. As the book of Kebra Nagast reminds us, the more power we have, the more we need to learn to use it with wisdom and mercy. The story of Archangel Michael is a reminder of the power of faith and justice. In every decision, we have the opportunity to demonstrate the balance between justice and mercy, between strength and humility. Qualities that Michael has exemplified. Perhaps that is the greatest legacy, the lesson of how to live a meaningful and balanced life, even in the most challenging times.